So as the plot thickens in Parliament and we try to make the best of what actually is meant, is it a genuine apology, as many have been asking the question? We're joined here in studio live by Papi Khanare, who is with the Congress of the People Party, and you are the member of the Congress of the National Committee. That'd be correct, sir. Thank you very much for joining us. We really appreciate it. Yeah. And on the line later, we'll be joined also by Strak Tukwani of Azanians People's Organization, who is the president. Let's talk about what this actually means. Did this apology sound genuine to you as COPE?
It is not a genuine apology. Firstly, the timing. I mean, he's more concerned about becoming the president of the ANC and possibly the president of the country. He's not concerned about what happened at Marikana, which was caused by him.
Yeah.
Because, remember, only after he wrote that email to the then Minister of Mineral Resources, Susan Shabangu, calling for a concomitant action to the Minister of Police, Nati Mthethwa, and Susan Shabangu, calling for concomitant action because of the measures which did take place and the length of the strike. Did the police kill people? So we can directly link his call for concomitant action to the killings of the workers at Marikana. He had an opportunity after those deaths to apologize. He didn't apologize.
Yeah.
He went to the commission. He didn't apologize. Now he understands it has got implications for him. If he succeeds to become the president of the ANC, that will hang over his head if he wants to become the president of South Africa, because he is directly linked to a massacre in a democratic South Africa. So it is not a genuine, it is more strategic than genuine.
But I mean, let's just put the evidence to the test. There was a Marikana Commission of Inquiry, the Farlam Commission, that came out with a report and also remedial action as to who is liable. We saw former police commissioner Ria Piecha being thrown under the bus. She put that system on review, etc. So Cyril Ramaphosa himself hasn't been convicted or found guilty, as it were.
He's been exonerated.
Exonerated according to the report. So, you know, there is a section in society that would say, look, he's an upstanding member, not only of the ANC, he's done very well in terms of business, he's helped startups and all sorts of things. So what do you base your assessment of his lack of sincerity?
One, why does he have to apologize if he has done nothing? If he's exonerated, why does he have to apologize? Why does he have to meet the widows of these workers if he is exonerated and he's not guilty? That's why I'm coming with this. Secondly, it can't be a coincidence that he calls for a concomitant action and the massacre follows some few days after that. It can't be. I understand. You see, the commission reaches conclusions based on the people who came to give evidence there. He was not carrying a gun at the massacre.
Yeah.
He did not give instructions to the commissioner of police.
Right.
He was not involved in anything directly, but he had an email which went to the two ministers. We don't know what type of instructions those two ministers did. My understanding is that the police will not shoot unless they're instructed to shoot.
Well, we are also joined on the line by the president of AZAPO, Mr. Strak Tukwani. Good evening and welcome to you, Squire. And this is what I just want to find out, because we've just heard some comments from COPE as well. When is the right time, therefore? When would have been the right time for the deputy president to apologize? Because obviously, in his explanation, there was a case, there were things taking place at that particular time. There was a commission that was established, and so perhaps maybe are we saying that because the timing is an issue, then therefore he's not been genuine?
Thank you. Good evening to the listeners of N7. Let me start by saying let us look at Mr. Ramaphosa's interests. He's a shareholder, or he was a shareholder in Lonmin. Shanduka had a stake. We obviously would expect that he becomes interested in the matter in whatever way. And then he finds out that things are not working well. By the way, I went to Marikana immediately. The shootings happened. I was there. I saw how the police were brazenly moving around and being given some food and so on. You could see that these people are confident nothing was going to happen to them. They have been assured at the higher echelons that what they've done is okay. Now, if he had to apologize, it should have been immediately thereafter. But apology is not askis. This is more than askis. Apology is actually not even sympathizing, but empathizing with the minors, more especially with the families, to say this is unfortunate. Can we sit down with families and see and talk about it, apologize, but more than that, also be able to offer substantial compensation. More than that, being able to say, bring the minors, let's hear on their demand of 12,500 because they're being exploited, and also saying it shouldn't have come to this. So you can't have your cake and eat it. And later on, when children ask you at university about this matter, and then you say, I'm sorry, it's too late. 4 years down the line, 3 years down the line, it's too late. And unfortunately, it happens at the time when you are walking the walk towards a position of becoming the president. So you can see that in his calculation, he must have seen or advised that this rhetoric, this thing is coming back. It's an albatross around my neck. How do I remove it? Just say, I'm sorry, now. And we say, no, we reject that with the contempt.
Yeah, but Retokwane, I mean, with the process that was going on in the Farlam Commission and Mr. Ramaphosa being exonerated, don't you think that if any person or reasonable person would put that as a back burner, that it's been dealt with, and as and when the question comes up, you have to think on your feet and respond? It's not a strategy that he necessarily brought it up in order to play the victim. What is your response to that? That could he have handled the responses better, as opposed to apologizing for the language used and the possible misinterpretation as a consequence? What in your view would have been a more acceptable approach to the question?
The first thing, he shouldn't have done that. It's callous. The first thing, that should not have happened. As a person who has been involved in the war of liberation, you have to be sensitive to these kind of things when the people are up in arms. And even if there's a problem within the miners themselves, NUM and AMCO being involved in killing each other, as a leader, you must be above that. So it's regrettable that that type of thing has happened, and he has fueled it. I believe he genuinely fueled that. I believe that to safeguard his interest. Now, let's go to the Farlam Commission. Right now, there was a security commission on the arms deal. And things are coming up because a lot of things were just pushed under the carpet. I'll just say commissions are commission, and if it's a commission that has been given the terms of reference, which has to look at certain things, it depends who are the witnesses and so on. I agree with that sentiment of the person who says that. So there was an issue of the Farlam Commission, which I think it was unfortunate that Pierre, just arriving, everything is piled on her for the comments that she made, inexperienced as she was. And this is what the Farlam Commission lays the blame on their feet. And that also becomes something else to say, no. And unfortunately, it's also a woman. That all the things that happened there, she's the person to answer. She becomes the full person. So I take it with a pinch of salt.
All right, please stay on the line, Retokwane. We have Repa Pikhanare, member of the Congress National Committee for the Congress of the People. And I mean, you have Parliament as well, with these issues need to be addressed. And we saw the EFF being more vociferous and almost aggressive in bringing up the Marikana issue. The slight change in tone today. So why is it as COPE and members of the National Assembly, you don't necessarily vent these things out or ventilate them at the time or even particularly now?
No, immediately after the Marikana massacre, I was a member of Parliament. I raised this very sharply because I was in the Portfolio Committee of Labour. I raised this very sharply. It's really the issue of not necessarily raising it now, but we have been consistent in raising it in the past about this issue of Marikana. There are questions which we had asked both ministers in the past. They have answered them. We have never been convinced that they were trying to quell the violent strike. We believe, and at the time we raised the issue, we said we believe that these workers were killed because they were destroying an alliance partner. You must know that the National Union of Mine Workers is a COSATU affiliate. Ramaphosa was the general secretary of that particular union. And AMCU, when they came in, they weakened that particular union very seriously and therefore weakened the alliance. So it was not just an attack because the strike was violent. It was a defense of one of their own, the National Union of Mine Workers, when they did that. We raised it at that time, and we were convinced at that time, before the Fallen Commission, we were convinced that Ramaphosa has got a case to answer.
Are we not being are we not being hypocritical in the way we handle this issue, in the sense that we know that people do take action and they do make mistakes. As humans, we are not perfect. And so therefore, when somebody makes a mistake and perhaps maybe does not immediately recognize the seriousness of that mistake, but later on reconciles and says, listen, I made a terrible mistake. I must actually apologize for what I have done and I must take action. And I'll give you an example, and maybe it's a rather controversial one. I can talk about the president, the head of state, who himself has apologized for acting outside the bounds of the Constitution. We have many other people, even the apartheid regime, to some extent, sort of apologized for the wrongs that they had done in the past. Are we not being hypocritical? Is South Africa not a country that recognizes that humans can make mistakes and they can be reconciled?
No. We're not hypocritical. It depends on whether you genuinely feel sorry for what you have done. And the issue here about Deputy President Ramaphosa is that he's not genuine. He's not genuinely saying, I'm sorry.
But what is the yardstick? What is the yardstick?
The yardstick is the timing. He had several opportunities. The Marikana did not happen last year.
Yeah.
He had several, he said yes, to apologize. Why does he discover only now that he has made a mistake when he's contesting to become the president of the ANC? The issue is, he did not start in Parliament. I mean, in Parliament, we know he got the question well in advance. So he did not answer it just because it was asked now. He got the question well in advance, so he had prepared himself strategically how he's going to answer the question. He had to apply his mind about what will be the follow-up questions, possible follow-up questions. So it was not something which he just said, I've just discovered now. I was on my way to Damascus. I've just discovered that I've made a mistake and I apologize. He has done. He started apologizing when I think he was in KwaZulu-Natal addressing an ANC meeting, where he started referring to the Marikana thing. It's a well-orchestrated strategy to try and remove Marikana out of his way, because that's the problem which he has. But South Africans are very forgiving.
Right.
And I'm telling you, if he had gone to the Fallen Commission and said, I've made a mistake, I apologize. Or even before the Fallen Commission, if he had said his company could have called, these people were employees of his mine. They could have called those widows in terms of his own company and told them that we apologize. And because we apologize, we know that we have lost breadwinners and all this, and these are the things we are going to do to try and solve them.
Yeah. Let's just get a perspective from Red Tukwane, especially with the pledge that Deputy Minister Cyril Ramaphosa made, that he's open to guidance and leadership from Umamwini Madikizela Mandela, that he'd personally go and individually visit the widows and try and reconcile with the families. Is that, for you, not an extension enough, a plea to say, you know, I'm sorry, I'm willing to even grovel at your feet and do what is necessary?
Oh, dragging poor Mamwini into this. Because Mamwini probably is acceptable to those people in Marikana. The poor Mamwini must just go and get into cleaning the dirty water that was spilled on the floor. Can I come back to the issue of, you see, we did not have a meeting as the people are coming here to caucus a position that this is not acceptable. It just comes from our gut as individual leaders of different political organizations. It comes from our gut to say, no, but this is not right. This is diabolical. Now, let me tell you and go straight into the answer of genuine agreement, apology. When you are in the leadership of a political party and you are found bringing the party into disrepute or doing something wrong, and you are going to be charged, or even if you are not charged, you stand up and say, I'm sorry, and then you recuse yourself from the position. You stand aside to show that you are genuine. Even the question that you raised of the clerk, we did not accept the apology from the clerk. Maybe other political organizations did, but we did not accept. We said, no. You cannot say I'm sorry and still cling onto our properties and our economy and all the things that you're supposed to get. We have not made any apology. You can't come into my house and steal the things, my things, walk away with them. When you get caught, you say, no, I'm sorry, but you're still clinging onto my things. You must hand them back. Now, what should have happened is that he probably could have said, I'm sorry, and maybe I should step down so that this matter can actually be seen that I'm genuine about it. Or, I am sorry, I'm going to take a big portion of my shares or whatever and make sure that I support the children to go to school. It can't just be a skis.
All right, so Red Tukwane, we're going to leave it there. Let's strike Tukwane as APO President. Papi Khanare is member of the Congress of the People, the Congress National Committee of the Congress of the People. There's a lot of congresses there.
Congress.
They'll be congressing. So we're going to leave it there for now. Thanks indeed for joining us. We take a quick head break. We'll see you shortly.